again. It looks almost like something from like the era of like We Are Monsters or something. Like there was that one shot in particular that was like them on the swing that looks like
Oh, you mean All Real Monsters?
Real
Yeah,
Monsters.
yeah.
It was I don't know. There's something about the faces that look like the way they're drawn looks awfully similar, and they
I
don't
can
look
see
like the
that.
way they look in the game. I don't know. It's very strange.
I think they look mostly like the game, but there's a
I
little
think the overall
difference.
character design looks the same. I think the faces. I don't know why they just don't. From what I've
It's
watched
probably
of the
because the
game.
game was very much like obviously in the teaser trailer there's still the devil's still in it, but the game was very
Yeah.
much like, hey, there's this weird Fleischer animation style from the 30s, but also like a weird twist, like there's like demons and like
I got it. That's what it is. It's fucking the fucking whoever the blue one is. His face looks like it's not Arum. It fucking looks like something from Ren and Stimpy. That's what it looks
I
like.
mean I all those animators who are animating this probably love Ren and Stimpy. So
Yeah. Interesting.
hey, this is the
It looks good though.
podcast. Theme song's gonna play now,
I
so we'll see how that goes. Okay.
I can't really hear it. Oh, we got one. Man. But you know, it's not that bad.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to License to View, a podcast on the internet. Two best friends get together, talk about pop culture news. I'm Jason, that's Zach. Zach, what are you drinking, by the way?
So I was at where the fuck was that? Oh, I was at the neighborhood market, Walmart, and I was gonna go for my basic bitch shit of getting a White Claw, but then I saw this, and the can design grabbed me. I'm one of those people that does judge the book by its cover, and the can design grabbed me. It's called Big John's Apricot Wheat.
Is
I
it
don't know
a
how
beer?
well you can see it. Yeah, it's a beer. It's like a. It reminds me of like. It doesn't taste like a shop top, but it's definitely going for like the same
Right.
thing as like a shop top for a Blue Moon, where it's just like it's a wheat with like a hint of like some sort of fruit, and this one obviously has apricots, but I like it so far.
So if you got that in a draft, they put apricots in the beer.
I guess so. They did that shit where they squeezed it by hand and they just like wrung it out into the barrel. There you go.
Well, it's like when I get shock tops or blue moons, and they ask me if I want an orange slice in it, I always go for it, but I always feel like it just doesn't do anything to the beer.
Mm, no, it really doesn't. The typical way you're supposed to do it, as I think it's the way that you do it with the Corona, where you're supposed to like squeeze it all out and then
Yeah.
just like stick it in the whole thing. But I never do that. I mean,
Well, no,
Blue Moons and
the,
Shock Tops are
the
like orange enough, anyways.
I have this problem with Corona as a beer, because I remember I talked to some people, like friends of mine or coworkers, and they'll
Mhm.
say like, "Oh, Corona's my favorite beer," and my
I don't.
my response is, if you have to add something to the beer to make it good,
It's not a good
the
beer.
beer sucks. You
Yeah.
know, and
Well, it's just the
Corona
same
with the
thing
lime
of
is good.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm just not even a fan of Corona, even with the lime. I don't know. There's something about the taste. I don't know. It's not for me. I like other Mexican beers. Like I like what is it? Dos
Dos
Equis is not
Equis or
bad.
Modelo or Pacifico.
Modelo is good. My dad loves Modelo, so I drink a lot of. Whenever I visit home, they always have Modelo in the fridge, so I always end up drinking a lot of Modelo. So
Plus, the packaging of Modelo just looks better.
that's
The
true.
little foil thing.
Yeah. Well, it's got the. What's the other one that does that too? It's like this. It's like the fancier beer. What the fuck is it? I can't even remember now. Hold on.
Is it it's like a light beer?
Yeah, it's got like a green. It's always in a green bottle. Stella Artois.
Stella, yeah.
Stella, yeah. Artois?
I think so. It's Artois, I think.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend's mom, who's very southern, I
Mhm.
think she called it one time like Stella Artosis or something, or
Artosis. I can see that.
Artos, whatever. But besides beer talk, which I love
Yes.
beer,
I do
I'm a
love beer.
big beer fan. I'm a pretty basic dude who loves IPAs and
Yeah.
draft shit. That's all about me. But this is License to View. This is
It
a
is.
pop culture podcast. Zach, what have you been up to this last week? What have you been checking out, reading, playing, anything like
Uh,
that?
I've been checking a few things out. So I watched a few things. I saw that this popped up on Netflix, and I had to watch it for multiple reasons. Number one, because it's just a great movie, and I love watching it. It always makes me happy. But also, Red Letter Media did a review about it,
Okay.
and it reminded me that I hadn't watched the movie in a while. But I watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay, so
uh,
the actual like 70s one.
Yes, with Gene Wilder.
Mhm.
Fantastic fucking movie. Absolutely love it. It's just great, and just hearing them talk about it because I didn't know this, but like Mike is a huge fan, so he knows like all this weird shit about the movie that like huge fans of stuff know, and so just like hearing about the production of the movie and like how like really like indie and small it was, and how like everything was very much like fly by the seat of your pants, like the way the whole movie was constructed was like they had all the songs written before they even had like the script done, so it wasn't even like them trying to like work the songs into the script. They were trying to work the script into the songs, which was like super weird and interesting that like it was still able to come through. And yeah, it's just
So
a fantastic
I
movie.
haven't seen it in a while. I
It's
love the
really
movie.
good,
I love the movie. I
and it
haven't
still
seen
holds
it.
up. It still looks really good too, even though it was made in the '70s. Like the cinematography is really really great, and
Well,
I mean the sounds.
I've never watched it as an adult. I've only watched it as a teenager in
Mm.
high school and as a kid a ton.
I
Um,
would definitely recommend rewatching it. I think there's
because
something as an adult.
I was watching clips of it because Corridor Digital, YouTube
Hmm.
guys,
Yeah.
they do this thing where sometimes every now and then they'll do like, hey, Avengers but R rated, or like
Okay.
Home Alone but R rated. So they'll take the
Oh, so they did the
scenes.
Willy Wonka
They did
R-rated?
Willy
Okay.
Wonka, so like they take the scenes and then they kill the people that should be dead. Really, they kill them all,
Yeah.
and they have like the animation effects and the splatter effects, and they kill them. So they recut Willy Wonka to be like a murder horror film where Charlie is his name's Charlie, right?
Yeah, the main kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Charlie's like a serial killer. They recut it to where like he's like he doesn't get the ticket by winning it. Someone has
Oh,
a ticket
he
down
kills it.
in the alley scene where he's following a guy. Like they recut to where he kills a guy
Oh,
with
the
a
Slugworth
knife.
scene. Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kill a guy with a knife. He takes the ticket. Then he goes home. Guys, I got the ticket. And then all
yeah.
the people in the all the kids die and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, that movie, even without it being recut as a horror film, is creepy enough.
It's very. I mean, that was the other thing that like just rewatching it was I forgot was just how like there's some like it's awkward in some parts. Like there's lots of actually like hidden comedy, especially, and I forgot about this too. Just how long it takes to actually get to the factory. There's a lot of like
Hmm.
vignettes and stuff leading up to like the buying of the tickets that are really really funny. But there's also some like legitimately like creepy stuff that happens, especially when they like get to the factory. Like everything that happens with like all the ways that like the kids get taken out and like the stuff
Well,
with
it's
the
also
Oompa
it's like
Loompas. And,
how he reacts to them
oh
getting.
yeah, Gene Wilder in general is like very. I don't. It's not. He's not creepy, but it's off kilter and
No, he's creepy.
I don't know. He's
Like
not.
he
I wouldn't say that he's creepy. I think he's very much just detached from all these people because
Well,
I
he
mean
like
they.
brushes all the kids off as they're like going through horrific scenarios.
But he knows that they're gonna be fine
Yeah,
because the Oompa Loompas take care of him.
but nobody else knows that, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what are you gonna do?"
Well,
He's like, "Whatever,"
can you blame the puppeteer for not worrying when he knows exactly what the game
So
is?
explain to me because I again I'm going off of knowledge from a decade ago of this movie.
Yeah.
So the whole point is that he gets these tickets sent out because he wants to find a kid who can inherit the business.
Yeah, it's not explicitly stated until the last bit of the movie, but the whole point is that he wants somebody to take over his chocolate factory and to take care of the Oompa Loompas because he's older and he wants to retire basically, and so the whole
He's not even that
five.
old though.
He's not that old, but I mean they make him seem kind of old at the end. But I mean it's Gene Wilder, like he's not that
Right.
old. Like he looks like he's like in his,
And
I
he
think he's
has
like
and
in
he
his
has
late 30s, early 40s.
the criteria for like who can end up being the inherit, which is all the kids are failing, right?
Well, his main criteria is just somebody that's like a genuinely like kind-hearted and like pure good person. Is like what it ends up being because it's the 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 what is it? The superficial stuff is that you take the tour of the factory and basically whoever doesn't break the rules would be the winner essentially. But I mean, the way he has it set up is that he knows everybody's going to break the rules, so that's not really the point. And the end point of the fact is that like with his Slugworth character that he ends up setting up is he like puts the thought into all of the kids' heads that they should turn over his secret recipe for the everlasting gobstopper, basically like ruining his entire business.
Yeah.
And so all the kids that get taken out basically are the ones who were like, yeah, as soon as I get out of the factory, I'm fucking selling this shit to the fucking Slugworth. Charlie's the only one that like didn't even give it a second thought, and then you've got the fact where he like proves that he's not going to do it, where he gives it back to Willy Wonka, and he's like, "This is the proof that you're a good person. You can take over the factory." Blah blah blah. So
see, but he's fucking 12.
Yeah. Hey man,
Also,
who knows candy better than a 12-year-old?
Do they explain what the Oompa Loompas are?
No, which is fantastic because I like that they don't explain it because they explain what they are in the Johnny Depp one, and it makes no fucking sense.
What's
really
the explanation? Do you remember?
Well, they in the Johnny Depp one, he like has a flashback where he like actually goes to like a real village in like the middle of like bumfuck nowhere, and it's like an actual village that he like saves them from, and there's like these weird creatures and stuff like that. But in the Gene Wilder one, he says that like there's this place that he got them from, but like there's no explanation for it, and it sounds so crazy. Right. And Willy Wonka's been crazy the whole time that you don't know whether to believe him or not, and it goes into that whole character aspect of you don't know when he's telling you the truth and when he's trying to pull your leg, and so that like feeds into into that aspect of his character and feeds into like the whole going about the tour of the chocolate factory. And they kind of just give that away in the Johnny Depp one, and it's really fucking lame. I don't like it.
How long is the fake walking to roll scene?
The what?
How long is that fake walk where he's like limping and then he does the roll?
Oh, it's not that long. It's only like 30 seconds.
In my memory, it's like a minute.
It might be. It's like 30 seconds to a minute, but I mean, that's also the part of the movie where it's like the pacing up to that point. Besides the vignettes portion, it's like the first half of the movie is like not in the factory and it's kind of slow, and that's like the culmination of like this is like the slow prodding part, and then he like reveals that he's faking it, and as soon as like he's there and he's Willy Wonka and he's ready to go. I mean, the pace is like rapid.
You know what I don't get? Like, do they say if there's been multiple other times where he's tried kids out?
No, this is the first time he's ever done it.
So, so how do you
talk about the fact that he closes his factory's been closed for like, I think it was like 20 years or something like that. That he was like closed out to the entire world. Like nobody was allowed in there except for the Loompas. And so this was just like his first. I mean, I guess the basic assumption is that if none of these kids worked out, he would have just
tried again.
He would have just done it again.
Right.
So
what a lucky motherfucker.
Yeah. One and done. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You know what I mean?
Cool. So, what else you checking out?
So I watched that. I finished Psych season 8, and I watched the movie.
Right. How do you feel?
It's similar stuff that I had last week. Season 8 was like, and I don't know. It also ended in a weird spot too. I mean, I get that they ended it like he's gonna be with Juliet and stuff like that. And I mean, the last case was fun of all being told through like the video metaphor and whatnot. And they finally have Billy Zane, which is like a character they've been like in universe talking about Billy Zane like for all 8 seasons. So the fact that like he's there for the last hurrah is kind of fun.
How do you feel about Henry becoming a teacher, and then the resolution with Henry and Sean?
I like that he became a teacher a lot. I think it's a natural progression of his character because he's been talking the whole time about like he wants to get back in the game, but then every time he like goes to mess with a case, something ends up going bad for him. And it feeds into the fact that I mean like his whole life he's been training up Sean to be a new detective, and so now that Sean like is this great detective, and he was so good at that, it makes sense that like he would go into a field where he can train more people to become great police detectives and make the world a better place. So I feel like that's a good path forward for his character. I don't like what they did with him in the movie, where he's like some weird hippie.
Hipster, yeah.
He's some weird hipster dad because like he went into his neighborhood got gentrified or something like that, and so he like goes to like hot yoga and shit like that. And I was like, that's not Henry. But I really like the resolution that they had with him and Sean, where Sean calls him because he needs help, and it's the first time that Sean's ever actually called him as he's been like in danger. I like that a lot. I honestly just wish all this last season 8 is just, I just wish characters were in it more, because really all of season 8 it's really just Sean, Gus, and Lassie. That's really it. And then you've got the new detective, but like I don't really like her character that much. I was really glad that she wasn't in the movie because I just don't really enjoy her at all. It's the kind of thing I'm dreading in the new movie though, because I mean they're going back to Santa Barbara, so I'm assuming she's probably still going to be there. And I just don't enjoy any of that with her that much. I mean, I get that she's like a new Lassie or whatnot, but like when you already have Lassie and I like his character's changed so much, I feel like we've outgrown the
You
character
know,
that
I
the show has. So
the trailer for the movie 2 came out. It's in our news docket.
yes,
I don't. I did not care for Gus's girlfriend.
I didn't like her in the movie.
Who is?
It's very strange that she just like I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like the whole series is just like Gus has been the one that has had like the most relationship problems. So for him to get like a steady relationship is fine. But like her whole character is just very strange.
Well, the other issue is that, and it's not even an issue really, but like, it's his real life wife.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's his real life wife. And
Well, that makes sense.
I don't know how. When you have all of them to get all the crew to get together, I don't know how she's gonna fit into that chemistry.
Yeah.
And if she's gonna take screen time away from the people who I want to have more screen time.
I feel like I don't know because honestly, she wasn't even in the movie that much. I really don't know if they're gonna have her in there a whole lot. I feel like not. But honestly, I feel like, and this is my problem that I think I'm gonna have is that I really feel like they're gonna relegate her to like the same amount of screen time that they did like Henry, which is going to be like a couple of minutes, and then I'm really scared that Henry's going to have no screen time because from the trailer it looks like he's just going to be sitting on a fucking couch, and Sean's going to come to him to ask him something, and that's going to be like his extent of his interaction.
They really don't explain like, because in the final parts of the show, he goes and like gets the psych office.
Yeah, he does that, but then you go in the movie and like this guy's it's abandoned and it looks like nobody's been there.
Was he just going to clean it up, or was he like going to go continue the bit? Like
it looked like he was going to like. Well, I don't know if he was going to continue it, but it looked like he was just going to renovate it and turn it into something else. But then also it's very strange because you have that bit where I think in season 8 is where he's selling the house. But I remember in like, I think like the 7th or 8th episode, like he went to see his dad and they were just in the fucking house still. And like last year was already supposed to have like moved in at that point, and like you're still like talking to your dad in your fucking house. Like I thought he'd sold this place and moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We'll see what happens with it. I mean, obviously I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna enjoy it regardless. But
yeah, I mean, I'm excited that there's gonna be more Lassie in it because I mean that was probably the thing that hurt me the most when he was just on that video call with Juliet and like that was it, and I was like, that's.
Well, I'm really hoping
that sucks.
I'm really hoping that Tim Omudson. I can't pronounce his last name.
I think it's Oldmanson.
Whatever it is, I hope that he was well enough to kind of perform and not look like a fool.
Yeah.
Because
it seems fine in that 5-minute clip that they saw.
He seems fine. I mean, he seems way better than he did in the first movie. The first movie was so clear that he was like still recovering from his stroke, whereas like in this one he seemed way better. So I hope that they worked that out pretty well. So
yeah, I hope so too. Also, they got that fucking chick from Scrubs in there, which seems like she's gonna be in it, which is very weird that like they just throw her in for some reason. But I'm down for it.
Whatever, she's funny. So
yeah, she's funny, and she seems like she's gonna be. I mean, it seems like she's gonna be there because she's Carlton's nurse. So and the movie seems like it's really going to be Carlton-centric, so I'm assuming she's going to be there for a lot of it. But yeah, she's funny. I like her, so we'll see. But yeah, I watched Psych, and I started watching Hannibal.
Okay.
I don't remember who did that series, actually, but it's on Netflix, and I'm trying to start it a few times, but I've never gotten past episode 3.
That show is... That show is... I'm trying not to say this not offensively. I don't give a fuck. It's not even really an offensive thing. That show has a wild fandom.
Yes, yeah.
That show is like Supernatural. It's like Doctor Who. It's like that show fucking.
Which is surprising to me because I feel like most series that have wild fandoms like that are very long-reaching and like usually outlive their. Well,
I don't know because Firefly.
Well, that's true.
One season, people fucking love Firefly.
Yeah, but also, wasn't Firefly one of those things where it was like it wasn't super popular when it was airing, but people discovered it later on.
It's a cult show. I mean, people.
But I feel like Hannibal was like popular like as it was airing. Maybe I mean it got 3 seasons, but I feel like usually shows like that where it has such a rabid fandom. But
it's because and here's my opinion on this.
Mm.
and I've seen the first season, and
Mm.
I liked it. I thought it was a really interesting premise for Red Dragon for Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Um, I think that people really liked it because it was like we're gonna take Will, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna take Will and like make him like this reluctant hero who's damaged,
Yeah.
and like that makes edge lords like
That's true.
fucking love, like they
They
love it.
love some damaged
They
heroes.
love some damage, and I don't get me wrong, I like damaged anti-heroes too. That's why I love the Punisher.
Honestly, but
You
for
know,
me though, I've never he's never been the reason that I wanted to watch it, and the reason that I've always wanted to watch it and wanted to get into it is because fucking Mads Mikkelsen's in it.
yeah.
He's fucking killer, and he fucking plays Hannibal, and I mean, he's still like the part that I enjoy about the show the most. I love him as an actor, and he's
So,
fucking
since
killer in it so far.
where are you at in the show now? What part of?
I'm only on episode 4 in
Okay,
season 1.
so
I'm really not that far in.
You can answer my question then. So
Okay.
he was a cop and then went to go work for the FBI and then he got kicked out or didn't pass and then goes back to being a cop.
Well,
or,
yeah. So he, from what they've said in the show, is he used to be a cop, and then something happened. They haven't said what happened, but for some reason he quit being a cop. He tried to join the FBI, and then he couldn't because he couldn't pass a psych eval, and so now he just teaches at Quantico.
So he's like a doctor,
Uh,
right, or something like that, or like.
he's not a doctor.
How do you,
I
I'm
don't
thinking,
think
obviously
he's a doctor. I think he's just a special, like he's a teacher, and then he's just a special investigator.
So I'm thinking like, okay, you never made it to the FBI,
Mhm.
never even got to the past the bureau.
No,
You were a detective before that.
he was, yeah.
So like, he must have been like a cop for a while to like really be to teach at the fucking FBI Academy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have some sort of technique in homicide investigations or of serial killers or whatever. And like,
Yeah.
I remember watching that however long ago when the show came out and being like, okay, I get the idea.
Yeah.
There's a show on air on TV right now that my girlfriend and I watch every now and then. It's called Prodigal Son.
Is that the one with Kevin Bacon, or who's in that?
That came out years ago. That was called The Following,
Okay.
I think. This show is literally the same thing as Hannibal. It's about a guy, well, similar. It's about a guy who used to be an FBI agent, but he's a specialist in serial killers, whatever. Because his dad, who is a British actor who's in Good Omens, not David Tennant, the other guy,
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. That's his dad, and his dad's a famous serial killer.
Okay.
And his dad like killed a bunch of girls in his house growing up. And as a boy, he like turned his dad in, and then he kind of has a mentor who is Lou Diamond from La Bamba and Filipino guy and fucking he plays Henry in Longmire.
Oh, okay.
So that's he's kind of like his detective mentor, and he grows up, becomes an FBI agent, gets kicked out of the FBI for being too psycho. His mind's all fucked up, whatever. Has to like tie himself when he goes to bed. He's in his bed, it's all weird, and, like, kinky and shit. And it's like a very similar storyline. Like like I have a broken human being, and then but I also catch broken people because I'm also broken.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, dude. All right, you want fucking the fucking Edge Award, I mean. But how are you? How I mean, Hannibal season 1 was good. I liked it.
I like it a lot. I mean, I really like the cinematography. Is great in it. All the shot compositions, the way that they go about him, like going through his mental process, I think is really interesting. It looks like it's almost, maybe they expand on this more later on, but it's almost like he gets into like a self-hypnosis state where they've got this thing where he like, there's like a swinging light or something like that. It's a very weird touch to the show. That is like him like rewinding through time and like playing the crime again, like through his head. But
I can't remember what part of the show. I think it's in the first season where they go, well, Will, he like feels how the serial killer feels. Like he'll.
Oh yeah, they talk about that. He has like the purest form of empathy or something like that.
Or
you can like feel the way that anybody else feels or something.
Some bullshit. Some like
some weird like Deus Ex Machina shit where like he can think exactly like a serial killer thinks.
Flat out, that would be the worst detective. That's like the worst ability to be a detective, is to be like, I can feel all the emotions. You would never get a case solved.
Yeah.
You would never get a case solved.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're watching Hannibal.
So I'm watching Hannibal. So I'm doing that and going through that, and then the last thing that I kind of did Well, there's a one mini update kind of, which is that I'm still playing my mobile game, my Fate.
Right.
They fucking dropped a fucking huge update this week. They've been doing the story shit. They got the new chapter of the story out, and it's fucking killer, dude. They got fucking Napoleon Bonaparte as a fucking servant, and he's such a fucking bro that I want to just hang out with him. Hold on, let me show you a picture of this bad boy.
What is this in?
This is in Fate Grand Order. Hold on, let me show you a picture.
This is a mobile game.
This is a mobile game.
Okay.
This is fucking Napoleon Bonaparte. Hold on, let me see.
All right,
This guy looks like a fucking G that I would fucking want to grab a beer with.
All right.
Look at that shit.
Okay. Double clicking. Load it up my Chrome. He looks anime as shit.
He does. Look at that fucking giant buster cannon he's got. God damn it, dude. I want it so bad.
So he has to be like 5. He has to be short, right?
No, he's fucking tall. So that's the shit. Because, the way that servants work is that they, fucking, twist shit around and everything. And so the way that he was summoned, he kind of talks about it a little bit, that, in history he is short, but the way that he was summoned was that, it's summoned not but on his historical context, but on the way that, the way they explain it is the way people view him, and so he's not a egotistical short guy or anything like that. He's a champion of the people, and so he's also just a tall burly dude, because that's just the people's image of a hero, I suppose.
Right.
And so that's kind of his whole thing. But so yeah, he's a tall burly motherfucker that carries around a giant cannon, and I fucking love it, dude. God damn it.
Cool.
So we're running through that and having a good time with that. And then the last thing that I did was I bought and started playing the remastered Bayonetta on PS4.
Oh, okay. They remastered that?
Yeah. They remastered it, and then I think they did it a couple of months ago that Platinum released the bundle with Vanquish and Bayonetta. But I remember trying the demo for Vanquish, and it just wasn't my shit. But I've been playing Bayonetta a couple of hours now. I fucking love it. Combo system's great. I love playing as it. Story's fucking bonkers. I don't even know what the fuck's going on, but it's a lot of fun to play. So I'm going through that. So I don't know how long to continue, but
only Platinum game I've played was their Transformers one.
I haven't played that one. I played a couple
of cool
games.
It was good.
I played this one. I play hold on. I know I played a few.
I want to play their fucking their new one. I want to play that. It was really bad. The cop one.
I want to play that Switch one, yeah.
Yeah, it looks rad.
The fucking one with JoJo stands looks like.
Yeah, but you're a cop. You're fucking it's something Link maybe or.
Yeah. Oh, they did Nier Automata, which I played, which I enjoyed a lot.
I never played it.
And then they did the Metal Gear Rising. When you play as
that was Platinum.
Dude, that game is fucking fun as shit, dude. I remember I bought that game for PS3, and that game is a fucking fun ass game to fucking hack and slash your way through.
Terrible game though.
No, it's a fun game.
No,
it's great.
For a Metal Gear title, it's a terrible game.
Well, it's not Metal Gear. It's Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, so it's clearly not a Metal Gear.
What the fuck's a Revengeance?
It's a revenge that you get a game.
Literally, also, here's the problem I have with the game. And I don't know the timeline of where it takes place or if it's even canon in Metal Gear lore, but at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, Raiden goes back to his family. Mm-hmm. And okay, so between Metal Gear 2...
Raiden. I think it takes place in between 2 and 4. Because it's a younger Raiden. But he's a full cyborg.
It would have to, because between 2 and 4, he goes full cyborg.
Yeah, he's full cyborg. He doesn't
talk to his family at all. And in this game, he's back to cyborg. But at the end of 4, he goes back to his family, and you would assume gets rid of the fucking genetic shit. So the game has to take place between 2 and 4, or else he's just a shitty guy.
Maybe.
There you go. All right. So...
Fun game, though. But yeah, so I'm playing that, and so that was mostly what I checked out this week. Jason, what have you been checking out?
What I've been checking out...
Excellent!
I got a couple things going on. First thing I was checking out this week is a comic book from Image called Birthright.
Okay.
And I've read the first 5 or 6 issues probably a year ago. It's a fantasy comic book about a little boy and his dad and his brother at a park. It's the boy's birthday, and his dad's taking him to the park while his mom is getting the house ready for the kid's birthday. And they're playing catch or something, and the boy runs into the woods, and then the dad goes to find him, and he's gone, just fucking vanished. Right? Can't find this kid. This is modern day, like our world. Turns out the kid gets kidnapped by a bunch of fantasy creatures to another dimension, isekai style,
Okay.
right?
I'm down for the isekai always.
So he gets captured and sent to a fantasy world where they tell him, "Hey, you're the one. You're gonna save our world." And he's
The
like,
kid?
"Yeah, the
Or
kid."
the
He's
dad?
like, the kid's
Okay.
like, "Fuck that, dude. Don't go home." He's like 12. Well,
He turned away from the isekai? You never do that.
he's like, "Shit, there's like fucking people with wings and stuff, and it's like a fantasy ass fucking Middle Earth or whatever."
I guess so.
So he's like, "Fuck that shit," right? But then eventually he stays, whatever. And then so back in the regular world, a year's gone by,
Okay.
and the cops think the dad killed the kid.
Oh,
The family has broken apart. The older brother's like struggling, taking care of his drunk dad. The wife has left the dad. You know, all this stuff. The media thinks he killed his kid.
damn.
And then he gets a call one day from a cop. Hey, you need to come down to the station right now. He comes down to the station, goes behind the glass into the viewing room, and he sees a fucking like Conan the Barbarian guy, like in a seat, full beard, long hair. And the kid's like, or the guy's talking like, "Yeah, I am the kid. I'm the guy. That I
Okay.
am so and so. I'm Mikey. I'm Mikey who gets fucking. Yeah, I no, I didn't die or get killed. I'm me. That's me." And then
Okay.
the dad's like, "That's my son." And the mom's like, "Are you fucking stupid? That's a full ass man. That is not our kid."
That is a grown ass man.
Right. So it ends up being that it is his son. Just time is different. He spent the
I was
last
about to say,
20
any other
years.
time moves faster in
Right.
the
He
other
spent
world.
20
No.
years training to be Conan and slaying demons. And so the comic book is flashing between him in the other world training to be the guy, fighting monsters, fighting dragons, all this kind of shit. And then his current mission is to hunt down these criminals who have escaped the other world into his home world, or else they're gonna create a tear. Well, there's some issues, right? He says, "Hey, I was the guy to kill the fucking bad wizard man guy. That was my job, and I did it, I killed him, but I couldn't prevent these guys from getting through. I had to hunt down these like 5 or 6 war criminals, right?
Okay.
And at the very end of the first issue, you see a red spirit talking next to him in the room, and he's like, clearly that's the fucking bad guy he's supposed to kill. He didn't fucking kill him."
Okay.
You're like, oh shit, he's like fucking possessed. He's possessed by the fucking evil guy. And then
Wait, the son is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the next you're trying to figure out who is he trying to kill? Why is he trying to kill him? It's this whole there's like 40 issues out of this like fantasy series with like pristine art, and that first little spoiler at the beginning, it doesn't matter at all because it's the first issue, but it goes through all this other stuff, and it's a really really fun comic book, and I'm probably on issue 30, I think.
Okay.
It's really good. I don't know how long it's gonna run. Maybe I'm assuming 60 issues. I don't know. But I really, really like it. The art's really great.
Is it one issue a month or?
Yeah, it's once a month.
Okay.
It's really good. It's called Birthright. I don't know the creative team on it. It's just Image book. It's really fun. Really, really fun.
Okay.
So I think you would dig it.
I'm down.
So there's that. I kind of I
I'm
spoiled.
always down for a new isekai. You know me.
I spoiled the first issue. It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Hey, I mean, I'll read the first issue, so it doesn't bother me too much.
And there's a scene where the parents and the older brother are led out of the room to like the cops, like, "Hey, by the way, this is what he had on him." And it's a fucking table full of like buster swords and like claymores and like daggers and knives and all this kind of shit. You know?
Damn. All right.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
So Birthright, and then I went ahead and watched on Stars. They had They Live, which is a classic John Carpenter movie.
Is that the one with Roddy Piper?
Yeah, that's the one with Roddy.
Okay. That's the one with the sunglasses.
It's the one with the glasses, yeah.
Okay.
Cult science fiction horror film. Not really horror film, but horror elements. Obviously, I'm not sure if I can talk about it or not because it's such a popular fucking movie amongst like movie nerds. But I haven't seen it in a long time, but watching it again, still holds up. It's really really good. The first like 40 minutes are pretty slow. He doesn't get the sunglasses until like an hour into the movie, and you're like,
Jesus.
Oh my god, fucking hurry up, start killing people, you know? And
seriously? I felt like that was such a huge part of it. Okay.
It's such a huge. Well, it's the rest of the movie, and then like
The rest of the 30 minutes of the movie.
Well, it's like 2 hours long or something like that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty long movie, I believe. And once he gets the glasses, the movie literally is Roddy Piper walking around the city for a long time. And once he gets the glasses, he's still just walking around. And it's like, dude, fucking start kill. And he starts killing people, and then becomes rad. And there's the 6 minute long fight scene with what's his name? I forget the black guy's name that everyone
Keith
loves. Yeah, Keith David.
Love
It's good.
Keith
It's a
David.
good movie. It's fun. It's capitalism message. Good old messaging.
Good old messaging. John
That-
Carpenter, he loves his messaging. Man.
Yeah, seriously. And then I read another comic book, a Mark Millar / Mark Miller
Ooh.
comic, 6 issues called Starlight, which is I think it came out in 2013, 14, or 15. So one of those times.
Okay.
It's essentially if Flash Gordon got old.
Okay.
If Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers or one of those old school science fiction heroes got old after saving all the worlds, but had to go back and do it again. So it's a science fiction hero who saves a planet from destruction, comes back to Earth. No one believes him. Everyone thinks he's fucking crazy. His kids think he's crazy. He's like 60 years old. His wife just dies, and he's like, fucking I have nothing else to live for. The military doesn't believe him. No one believes him. And finally, a fucking spaceship crashes in his front yard and goes, "Hey, you're so and so." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "We need you back." He's like,
Alright.
"Fucking shit, dude. I'm 62."
Back in the saddle, baby.
And
Pull my big boy pants.
Yeah, and he goes and saves the planet. It's fucking awesome. It's a really great comic book. And Mark Miller is the fucking king of like miniseries.
He kills it, dude. He's give him like 6 to 8 issues, and he fucking kills it.
He hits the 5 and 6 issue range. Like everything he does is 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah.
And it's like he gets in, gets out. You know,
He knows how to do a tightly wrapped story.
like Secret Service was 6 issues, I think, maybe. This was 6 issues. I think Huck was probably 5 or 6 issues.
I think I read Huck. Huck was like, it was like 6. Nemesis was 6 that I read.
Chrononauts, I think, is him. All this stuff is like really quick and then get in and get out,
Yeah.
which I appreciate. You know, there's no fluff.
Yeah.
Next thing I did, another comic book, big comic book week for me.
Okay.
Speaking of 2000 AD from last week, I was reading the first trade of a series called Nikolai Dante, which is a 2000 AD series from 1997 that ran until like 2005, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
It's pretty much futuristic world Earth where Russia takes over the world, and it's all cybernetic future, and it's Russian czars and all this kind of stuff. And the main character, his name is Nikolai Dante, and he's pretty much Jack Sparrow / swashbuckler / prince thief guy who becomes a fucking conscripted into the army because his family's royalty, and he's like gets some powers, and it's futuristic. He's like a fucking a ladies' man. So it's a really fun, not serious comic that I've been enjoying. I'm only in the first trade, but I'm really enjoying it. And it's fun. And lastly, the last thing I've watched was last night. I watched on HBO Max the new Scooby-Doo movie.
Is that on HBO Max?
Yeah, so HBO Max.
I have to watch
Scoob.
that. God damn it!
I watched Scoob last night, and
That's awesome that they have that.
Yeah, I watched Scoob, and I liked it for the most part.
Okay.
The animation was fantastic. The quality of the animation was great. The worlds
I
looked
heard it
good.
was weird because they do a lot of shit with fucking whatever the superhero in that world.
Blue
the fuck he is.
Falcon.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that happens with him, I guess, and it was like I don't know. I saw some reviews that like said that it was like disjointed with that and whatnot. I don't know.
So my issue with it, which is similar to what that statement is that to me it's not really a good
Scooby-Doo movie.
representation of Scooby-Doo.
Right.
Because it has the superhero characters in it the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's
Blue
boring.
Falcon, the dinosaur robot, the Dino Robot, they're like sidekick ladies in it, and they're trying to get Dick Dastardly, who has a plot line, and his goal is a supernatural story, but you have superheroes in it, and to me, It really should have been just the Scooby Gang Mystery Incorporated just solving the paranormal
Yeah, I
mystery.
feel like that's a more. I feel like that's a compelling enough story. I don't know why you gotta add like superhero stuff.
And even if you just tone it down, because the whole storyline is that like they're trying to open up hell. Sorry, Zach.
That's fine.
But like, you could just tell a better like Zombie Island is a fantastic movie,
Such a great fucking Scooby-Doo movie.
and that's all you need is an island in the Caribbean of zombies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's perfectly fucking fun, and it's scary and creepy, you know. But this was very much like a hey, we didn't know kind of which way to go, so we're gonna splice in some superhero and some supernatural, and it doesn't really mix well to me. Because the idea that like a superhero who's Mark Wahlberg is gonna fight a villain who's trying to like do some supernatural shit doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
With that being said, the voice acting is good. Pretty famous cast. Fred is Zac Efron.
Yeah.
I think Shaggy is Will Forte. I think maybe.
Okay.
Velma is Gina Rodriguez. I think is what it was, and then Amanda Seyfried is Daphne.
That makes sense. That's the one that makes the most sense.
So,
Well, Zac Efron makes sense too.
and the movie looks good. Animation wise, it looks great. But I was hoping for more of a straight up Scooby Doo episode in a movie.
Yeah, so it's not really like a mystery. That blows.
I mean, there's a mystery, but it's not like a super. Like they tell you pretty quick outright, and like there's a lot of technology stuff, and it's like okay, I want like ghost, like the most ghosty thing we get, the most like the actual only Scooby Doo thing in the movie is when they were kids in the beginning of the movie and they solved their first crime together. That's it. After that, it's not Scooby Doo.
I want traditional Scooby Doo. I mean, I don't know. I want like old Scooby Doo. I mean, I guess it's not really for. Maybe it's not really for us.
You'll get more traditional Scooby Doo out of Paranorman than you will this movie.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I'll still probably watch it because I mean, Scooby Doo.
It's fine. It's perfectly fine, but it's not Scooby Doo.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but it makes me want them to do more Hanna-Barbera stuff. I want to see a new, Gendy Tartakovsky, Gendy, whatever the fuck his last name is, the guy who made Samurai Jack and did the first season of series of Clone Wars and then Dexter's Laboratory. Mm-hmm. He was going to do a Popeye movie like 5-6 years ago, and they released the animation test on YouTube, and it looked fantastic. But the movie got canceled. He also directed all the Hotel Transylvania movies.
Okay. I know people like those. I never watched them, but
the first two are good. Good. The third one's okay. They all look great. It's Adam Sandler as a vampire. I mean,
right.
So they're all good movies for what they are, but I hope that maybe this will lead into like more like I want to see a Jetsons movie.
Yeah.
That'd be good. A Jetsons movie or like a new Johnny Quest or a new Space Ghost. A lot of these classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons I want to see. New Flintstones would be good.
I would like to see a new Flintstones, yeah. So, I would like to see something like, just classic Hanna-Barbera stuff. I just feel like we don't, I don't know. But maybe we're just past the time of Hanna-Barbera. I don't know. New cartoons seem like they're further and further away from any of that kind of shit.
I don't have enough young people in my life who can tell me if they still watch Boomerang.
I feel like nobody.
You know what I mean? Like when we were kids, and like at a certain point, Boomerang came on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
So you were forced to just watch old shit. Like you just had to watch old shit.
Yeah. It was like even without Boomerang, it was like half of. I remember watching Cartoon Network, and it was like half the time it was like old Hanna-Barbera stuff. I mean, not like super niche Hanna-Barbera stuff. That was Boomerang, but I mean, it was all like the Scooby-Doo, and you had like, depending on what time of day it was, you had old stuff. You had just a bunch of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Well, the fact that like, so at the beginning of this movie, they're kids. It was how they first Shaggy and Scooby first meet. Mm-hmm. And they're all youngster kids. And I was like, dude, like this was a perfect opportunity to just do a pup named Scooby-Doo for the rest of the movie. It would have been awesome. Pull Scrappy in and all this kind of stuff. But that wasn't what they went with. They decided to go adult, which is fine. But they added Mark Wahlberg in and Ken Jeong and just became a fucking, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best. Wasn't crappy, but it wasn't the greatest. So that's what I did this week, and we can move on into the news.
Oh, news time! News.
Zach, there's some
Yes.
stuff going on with Cyberpunk.
There's quite a few things. Oh my god, this is a big week for Cyberpunk.
Take Cyberpunk, explain what's going on, and we'll go from there.
So after last week's news of the delay, CD Projekt Red held a live stream this week. It was a mini live stream. I think it was only about 30 minutes long, 30 to 40 minutes, nothing too big. They released a new trailer in it that was strange because it was entirely prologue focused, and they acted like we hadn't seen a trailer that went past the prologue already. I don't know. The messaging was very weird, but it looked good. It looked like Cyberpunk. The trailer was, we talked about it a little bit over text. It was much more action-packed. It seemed like it was not as much like fiddling around with like the faction stuff in the Cyberpunk world, and more like getting you into like action set pieces and trying to set it up as like a blockbuster movie, which it's a AAA game and it's definitely like a big blockbuster game, but I don't know. All of the footage that they'd shown previously, this just seemed much more bombastic and out there than previous stuff that they'd shown. And they've released like a 50-minute demo that was like,
yeah.
I even feel like that demo was like not as
I just feel like off
the wall crazy as this trailer.
Tonally, this trailer didn't really feel like Cyberpunk. Like, if I watched this trailer, I wouldn't say Cyberpunk as a descriptor. It'd be like I watch this trailer and go, action game, which maybe that's the goal, is to try to get a bigger appeal audience. But like,
I think that's definitely the goal for sure. It's probably trying to appeal it to a wider audience, because I feel that trailer specifically feels like something that could be watered down into a TV spot that you stick on ESPN, and then all those people who watch that, who like are the same type of people that would watch Call of Duty, would probably look at that trailer and be like, oh, that looks like something I'll pick up.
And again, like I said when we were talking through text, like graphically, the game looks great in the trailer.
Yeah,
it doesn't look bad. It just tonally of how it was cut to me, and how it was edited doesn't make sense to me, because like, well, we know that we had a demo where your team gets fucked with. Yeah. Obviously, at the end of the trailer, they show a different way that Johnny's there and all this stuff, but this was called Nightwire. Right? Nightwire City or whatever the fuck.
It was Nightwire. They called it like episode 1 Nightwire or whatever. So they had that trailer. They had some interviews with the developers, which was interesting. They had another trailer for like a different aspect of the game that they hadn't showed off before, that was more like detective kind of stuff, which I found a lot more interesting. There was like that, because I don't even remember what they called it now. It was like brain dance or some shit like that, but it seemed much more of like a detective aspect to it, where it's like you're searching through memories and you're like rewinding and fast forwarding and like zooming in on certain stuff. So that stuff looked interesting, because it's more of a variety of the game. It's not just like an action game. It's multi-layered. There's a lot of stuff going on in it, and a lot of different branching paths that you can take with it. So I found that trailer.
Let's be real though. Let's be real about that part though. Let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's a cool feature to have. I'm glad that if you want to play a net runner, that all that stuff is there. Yeah. That's awesome. Boring for the first trailer. First thing you're going to give me after delaying a game that should have been out 3 months ago?
Yeah, I think the problem with this game is that, or the problem with this stream is that, it was obviously pre-recorded, and it was clearly pre-recorded before they probably even thought about the fact that they were going to be delaying the game again. I really feel like it was pre-recorded. I don't think they said it was live, but I doubt it was live. It really just felt like something that they had already set up beforehand, and that was stuff that they were probably setting up back when, because this wasn't set up until after the game was delayed the first time, and I feel like this was really something that was like, it really felt like something that was like leading up to the game coming out in like 2 months, not leading up into we just delayed it, here let us give you something to entice you for the fact that we're delaying it another 2 months. So
and for the trailer alone, it wasn't enough for me to keep me satiated until November. Yeah. And then the gameplay, I didn't even watch it, because I started watching it and I was like, what did they show in the gameplay that was like, oh, awesome.
I mean, it's not. I mean, you get the basic gist of the gameplay within the first like 30 seconds. That's like, okay, this is like a detective aspect. You scroll through video, you can rewind, fast forward, you can highlight shit, you can see sound. I mean, it's like basic detective stuff.
Because I got to that part.
It's nothing groundbreaking.
I got to that part where they're scrubbing through the shit, and I was like, okay, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah.
The things that I want to see, shopping.
Yeah.
How do I change my clothes, my gear?
Yeah.
How do I do that? Show me that scene. Show me how that animation looks. Show me walking into a club. Show me going to the other RPG parts that I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, my only hope for it is that they talked about the fact that there's going to be more episodes to this live stream series, and so I'm hoping we're going to get more of that stuff later on. I mean, I saw some extra developer interviews outside of that with like IGN and them talking about like they touched a little bit not on like the shopping aspect, but the developer during the interview with Max touched a lot more on like the storytelling aspects and like the way that you're like, I mean, traditional RPG stuff where it's like RPG and like tabletop RPG. I really feel like it's not something this really feels like it's a tabletop game that's been turned into a video game, because I feel like a lot of the aspects of this are stuff that you see in tabletop games, and I really don't feel like it's stuff that gets implemented into actual video games too often. Just like the background aspect to it, and the way that they're talking about that, like you don't start in the same place. Like your background determines your starting point. You don't always start in the same place, and your background determines your starting point. Determines the some of the characters that you interact with. It determines a lot of the time. It determines your overall branching path that you can take. A lot of the side quests that you can take are locked out if you don't pick a certain background. And they talk about. I mean, I don't know how often this will happen for me because I really don't like to replay games that often because my backlog's so heavy. But they talk about the fact that makes the game, super replayable, and it does. I mean, if certain stuff is like completely locked out to you, then obviously that's like a huge encouragement for replayability. But so that interview with him was interesting. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you that there was nothing in this live stream that was earth-shattering or like hype. So that was super disappointing.
Well, and to me, nothing about this live stream made me go, okay, you're delaying the game another time.
Right.
All right. Well, at least you showed me this. That's not what happened. What happened was, hey, go watch a bunch of YouTubers who got to play the game and then have them tell you how good it was.
I think that was the thing that's the most disappointing to me, is that there are people who have their hands in the game, and that's like, I should already have my hands on the game. Like, this shouldn't even be like a thing where I'm like having to watch YouTubers. I should be able to just play the game myself. Like if it's, I don't know. It feels like if it's a thing where if it's a good enough condition that you'll give it to like YouTubers and reviewers, and like, why the fuck can I get my hands on it? It doesn't make any sense.
Or just put out a full mission.
I mean, a lot of it. I mean, honestly, a lot of this would probably just be relieved if they put out a fucking demo, for sure.
Right.
I mean, that was a big part for Final Fantasy, which, I mean, I know you didn't play it, but I think a lot of the things that alleviated the people who were waiting on remake, a lot of the people who were waiting on that, I think, got alleviated by the fact that they did end up releasing the demo, and so people did get their hands on the game, at least, for a little bit. And so, yeah, I think a lot of us would be relieved if they put out a demo, but I just don't know. I honestly don't know how you would do a demo for this game unless you do the shit where I think Watch Dogs did that once, where it's like instead of like a traditional demo where it's like a scripted portion, they just give you this shit where they're like, okay, the demo is you get to play the game for like 2 hours.
Or not even a demo, but like just release a mission, like on like YouTube, release a full mission where that we haven't seen yet of a different part of the game, where there's no context, and that way I can see how stuff works, and don't commentary over. Just put the game out so I can see how people play the game in reality.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just see. I know some people have had footage in their YouTube thoughts, but I don't know what.
Are they allowed to do that?
I don't know what the rule was. Like I don't know what if it was reused content or not. I don't know. So with that being said, like if the game itself is coming out in November, you have to really give me some new shit. If you're not gonna give me anything interesting, you give me a fucking You're giving me a game, a part of a trailer where I'm watching someone scroll through footage.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
That's the thing you're gonna give me when you delay the game again.
Yeah.
Like I'm buying $100 art book next month. I have fucking all the figures released except for the high end ones,
Yeah.
and you're gonna give me a scroll through a fucking timeline. Like,
Yeah.
show me how to customize the car. Can I get a motorcycle? Because my goal is just to make Kaneda from fucking Akira. That's my goal.
That's all I want.
Can I get a red bike? Can I put a fucking pill in my jacket? Can I do that?
Yeah.
That's the plan. So, that's the Night City Wire thoughts.
Yeah.
The other big thing this week that I want to hit on next was the Kingsman trailer, the new Kingsman trailer.
Yes.
I am so excited for this movie to hurry up and come out.
Fucking good, dude. I like that they expanded a lot more because I really thought the movie was just going to be Rasputin. I like that they're doing the whole even organization shit. I love that. Setting up the... I don't know, was there really like a name for the organization in like the first... It wasn't. There was just like Samuel L. Jackson's shit.
Well, it's different bad guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the fact of them doing like an actual like Illuminati type conspiracy. There's an evil organization that runs the world and that type of shit. The combat looks fucking great. Stellar. I love it.
What I really love about these movies, besides them being these really, really fun movies, which they're great fun, the action's great, the directing's great.
Yeah.
People really gave the second one a lot of shit, but I thought it was great.
This is by Matthew Vaughn too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I love about these movies is that both times, with one and this one, Matthew Vaughn is getting guys who I would not expect to be in action movies.
Yeah, fucking Ralph Fiennes.
That's crazy. And then Colin Firth.
And he's doing like crazy fucking shit in this movie too, where he's getting like fucking blasted through a fucking barn and shit. Yeah.
Like it makes me feel like he's going up to these fucking like famous ass British actors and being like, hey, listen, you've done all that. You've done all this, but do you want to have fun for 6 months?
Well, it's like it's strange because, I mean, Rafe Fiennes is in fucking 007, and so it feels like Matthew Vaughn went up to him and like, do you want to be James Bond?
You want to be James Bond? Yeah.
Because I can make that happen.
And I really like the guy who plays I don't know what the character's name is. What's the guy who's playing the Eggsy of this movie?
I don't know.
Harris Dickinson, Conrad. Is that him? That's not him. I think that's the wrong movie. Hold on.
No, I think it's him.
Okay, is that him?
Yeah, it's definitely him.
Okay, who the fuck is he? Who is this guy?
He was in Maleficent, apparently, so we got that going for us.
For a second, I thought it was the guy from fucking what's the movie we just watched? The fucking war movie, the World War I movie, 1917.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
For a second, I was like, it's the main character from fucking 1917, but it's definitely not. He looks good in the movie. The main guy, he looks good. The war scene, the battlefield scenes look cool. Rasputin looks cool. All the other stuff looks cool. They're building a good mythos around this.
I like
it.
it.
And if they're really smart about it, which no one really compares the two, which I think is really interesting, but you could really have a John Wick thing with this series. You know, they both have 3 movies.
Yeah.
But no one talks. Kingsman's such a. It's to me they're the same kind of movie, just one serious and
I think
one's
they're very similar. Yeah.
One's really tongue in cheek. Like Kingsman's very tongue in cheek, goofy. Yeah. Obviously, it's Mark Miller, so it's like a lot of like fucking goofy stuff. But
this one seems almost a lot more serious than the other 2 Kingsman.
From the trailer, I think so too.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy.
But it's Matthew Vaughn, so I don't know. There'll probably be some shit thrown in there.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you want to hit next?
So I read the Star Wars preview.
Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't really.
So real quick, first chapter of the newest Star Wars book came out for preview.
Yeah.
High Republic, Light of the Jedi, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, High Republic, Light of the Jedi. I don't know. I mean, I read it and it's just like, it's fine, but I mean, nothing in that chapter makes it Star Wars, other than the fact that they kept slinging a bunch of fucking Star Wars terminology at me. Like, it read like the fucking Expanse. Like, but I mean, it's also a problem where it's like there's no Jedi in it yet. I mean, it's all just like some shit that happens on a freighter, and the freighter gets. I'm guessing it's fucking targeted, and that's why it got fucking destroyed. You don't really know because I don't get into any of that, but everybody fucking dies.
Also, I swear that when I looked at it before, months ago, it was supposed to come out in August, is what I saw, but now it's like
COVID, baby. COVID even.
I know.
Put books back.
Don't care about. I was gonna buy the book just to give it a chance, but after reading that, and nothing about it was bad or like no whatever, I just thought to myself like.
It's a media. Honestly, as far as I mean, I get it. You can't just like put out a random chapter, but like, as far as like giving people like a taste of like what your novel is supposed to be about.
No, you're wrong, Zach. Here's why you're wrong. Okay,
I'm wrong that you can't just put out a random chapter of a book.
Not random chapter, but you can put out more. You know, Jim Butcher, who's a amazing fantasy author, who is the author of the Dresden Files. Right. Codex Alera, Aeronauts Windlass. His upcoming book comes out next month. Peace Talks for Dresden Files.
Okay.
Love Dresden Files. It's been 6 years, I think, since the last book.
Wow, that's a long
time. He used to put out sometimes 2 a year. Sometimes.
That's insane workload.
And the last couple books have been fucking heavy.
Okay.
Heavy, dude. Like, I think, Zach, if you read these books, this is book, I think, 15, I think, maybe.
Jesus.
I think he's doing 25. I think 25 total books. So we're halfway through the journey of Harry Dresden.
Okay.
And I need 10 more books because right now Harry's life fucking blows. Okay?
Okay.
So he put out one chapter on his website, and I was like, oh, shit. Read that shit so fast. It reads quick. It reads real quick because it's all first person.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, great, awesome. I have to wait 5 weeks. A week 2 later, chapter 2 came out. Oh, shit. Read chapter 2. Week 2 later, you know what happened? Chapter 3 comes out.
3 chapters? Jesus.
And I was
just going to release the whole fucking thing online?
Like, oh, shit. Read that shit so fast. 3 days ago, you know what happened?
Oh my god!
Fucking chapter 4.
Is he really just going to release it chapter by chapter? What the fuck is going on?
Chapter 4 comes out like 3 days ago, and I was like, you know what, Jim? I'm just going to wait now.
That's too much, man.
I'm going to wait
Might as well just release the whole thing online at that point. God damn.
I'm so excited for this fucking book. I have it on pre-order. It comes out next month, and then in August or September, the next one comes out. So he's like, listen.
Okay, releasing 2 in like
this year.
2 in 2 months.
He was like, listen, dude. He was like, guys, I'm sorry for the 6 years. Here's 2. Bah. You know,
Jesus.
I am so excited. This is not relevant to the news at all. I apologize.
Okay. Hey, that's what it is.
This book series is my favorite book series of all time.
Okay.
Of all time. This is better than Lord of the Rings. This is, I'm flat out. It's better than fucking.
I mean, I believe that because we tried to read the Lord.
Yeah, it sucked.
It
sucked. This is better than.
It sucked. It's just it's hard to get into.
It sucked. Any book series any book series you can think of, this is better, right? Flat out. Tom Clancy, better.
Better than The Expanse.
Better.
Oh my god.
Fuck The Expanse. Fuck The Expanse.
Oh my god.
This book. If you read any other, okay, here's how I'm gonna say this.
All right, lay it on me. Maybe I'll go to Barnes & Noble and check one out then. I don't know. I have yet to read one.
I will give you a couple tips in a second. Okay, so you know how like you can read fantasy books, like traditional fantasy, high fantasy, epic fantasy, swords and sorcery, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone can copy from other tropes, and people don't really mind it as much because it's fantasy, it's a setting,
Right.
Like, obviously, if you read a character who's Conan, you're like, okay, that's Conan. But if you read like, you go to the fucking bookstore and you go, okay, well, all these books look like Wheel of Time, or all these books look like insert fantasy thing, and it's not really an issue. No one really cares that much because if they're written well, you read them. Science fiction is the same thing. Okay, all these things are space operas. Okay, As long as you don't have a beam saber and space magic, then you're probably fine. But when it comes to urban fantasy, there is only one series that comes to mind when I read other stuff that's not Jim Butcher. I read any other urban fantasy series, and it automatically makes me think of you're just copying Dresden.
Okay.
And it's really hard because a lot of other authors who write urban fantasy know that they're being judged by the top of the food chain who's still currently writing urban fantasy. So they go, listen, I love Jim Butcher, and they put Jim Butcher references in their books.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, listen, I get it. There's a book I'm reading right now called it's called Faust. Daniel Faust, maybe.
Faust.
And he's a
Wake up, motherfuckers! It's time for Faust.
He's a Las Vegas magician who's an actual magician, and he it's an antithesis of what Dresden is.
Okay.
Dresden has an actual council of wizards, and in this other Faust book, there's no council of wizards, right? So he's doing all he can to not be Dresden, which is good. And I read these books. And I'm like, there's a series called Rivers of London, which is about cops who are wizards in London. And I'm reading it and going like, okay, and there's a bunch of Dresden references in it, and I'm like, I get it because Harry Dresden's like the fucking guy. So it ruined how I enjoy urban fantasy. The only thing I can read that does not make me think of Harry Dresden or Dresden Files is like Hellblazer.
Okay.
Because he's a fucking wizard too, kind of. He's a wizard. He does magic and shit.
Yeah.
That's the only series I can think of because he existed before Harry Dresden. A lot of the books that are popular that are not Harry Dresden existed after Harry Dresden, which they just end up pulling from Dresden Files, which is not bad. I mean, I wrote like 10,000 words of an urban fantasy novel I wanted to work on, and I read it again. It was fucking Harry Dresden. It was straight up Dresden Files. Okay, so you want to read Dresden Files, Zach?
Yeah.
Here's what everyone says. Here's the general idea about the books, because they read really fast because they're mystery books as well.
Okay.
And they're first person, so you can fly through these really easy. The first two are kind of weak.
Okay.
Jim Butcher says start at 3. But 1 and 2 are good books. They're good books, but they're not what Dresden Files is. Like when you get to book 3,
so he says to skip his first 2 books.
He's like, if you want to get into my series, 1 and 2 are there, and they add context to the characters. So you definitely learn about the characters and the city of Chicago and all this kind of stuff, and you get groundwork. But the writing and the actual story itself, the stories themselves, are not his best work. But number 3, literally, I read the first 2 books years ago, and I was like, I mean, they're okay, they're fine. First 2 pages of book 3, like, holy shit, what the fuck? And you're just like, slam through. I think I read when I started reading Dresden a couple years ago. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within a month.
Jesus.
And just slam through because they're so good. And by the time you get to like midway, and here's the best part, Zach.
Okay.
I know this is a long ass rant, so I apologize.
Hey, you got to.
Here's the best part about Dresden, and I think you'll really appreciate this.
Okay.
So it takes place in real time, in the sense of like when Dresden starts out, he's like 25-ish, 25, which is the first book came out in like 2000.
Okay.
The year 2000.
So he's like 40 years old now.
So he's like 40 years old now, right? So in the first book, he's like 25, and Jim Butcher was around the same age as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 20 years of Dresden. They just celebrated 20 years of Dresden recently. So in the first few books, his magic is really, it's pretty low level. He can do some powerful shit, but it takes a lot out of him. Mm-hmm. He's fighting some low tier shit.
Okay.
But each book, dude, the stakes increase, and Dresden and Harry gets slightly stronger every book. Okay. So by the time we're on book 13, 14, 15, he's a fucking insanely powerful wizard.
Okay.
Right? And since you're reading it from his perspective, he's like, he doesn't get it that to the rest of the fucking wizarding world, supernatural world of vampire, he's fucking, like, they think he's a demon.
Okay.
Because of all the shit he's done in the last 15 books that he should not have gotten through, and all the levels of increase of power he's getting. He thinks he's just a regular dude, but in reality, he's like, the power creep is insane. Like,
okay.
He's just mad. He's constantly like, it's a real shonen. It's some real shonen shit.
Okay. I'm always down for some shonen. I'm down for it.
So
all right.
I rambled a lot, but
I'm down to try it out.
I've said it before.
Try to see if I can go to Barnes & Noble. Maybe I can pick up a copy.
If you can't even buy the copy, just get the fucking ebook.
Ooh.
The fucking ebook.
I try not to buy. I like me some physical books. It's like the one medium that I still like physical.
I do too, but it's Dresden, and I read all Dresden's on my phone.
Damn. All right.
That's how good it was. Where I'm like, I had the first 5 physical. I could not wait. I had to keep going. So I'll stop ranting about Dresden now. Sorry, everybody.
Excellent.
Sorry, Zach. Next thing
on news.
Man. Let's talk about that fucking Cyberpunk anime.
Oh, I'm so excited. I wish it wasn't fucking 2 years away. That's the only thing.
Netflix is getting the anime, right?
Netflix is getting the anime. It is being done by Studio Trigger, which has done some of the best anime in the past.
That's Kill la Kill, right?
That's fucking Kill la Kill. That's fucking.
Is that Gurren too?
They didn't do Gurren, but it's the studio has a lot of the same people that worked on Gurren, because Gurren was Gainax.
So it was Gurren,
but a lot of people
these people left and made Trigger.
Basically, a lot of the people who worked on Gurren left Gainax and they made Studio Trigger, and so they did Kill la Kill. They did the recent Promare movie, which I think I talked about on this podcast, which is a fucking fantastic.
They did the other anime from a few years ago, the robot one.
Yeah, they did Gridman, which I talked about too.
Not Gridman. The one with the girl. The robot. There's a girl. There's a boy. And then the
Hold on. Give me a second. The girl.
Oh God, it's like no.
You talking about Gridman?
Not Gridman.
Oh, Darling in the Franxx?
Darling in the Franxx. That anime sucked.
That anime sucked, but that is not their fault. The writing is awful on that.
Did you like Kill la Kill?
I fucking love Kill la Kill, dude.
You like Kill la Kill?
Kill la Kill is fucking... I have a fucking Ritsuka statue. Where the fuck is she? She's all the way over there.
I think Kill la Kill...
I have a Ritsuka statue. I love Kill la Kill.
I think Kill la Kill is really, really fun. That story blows.
I mean, the story's fucking bonkers, but... I mean, if you're willing to hang on for the ride, it's fucking wild.
Which of the girls do you like more?
I think I always liked... I don't know. It's hard.
This is easy.
I think my initial instinct is always to say Satsuki.
Which is which one?
She's the girl in the white.
100%. 100%.
She's always the one I lean toward. I mean, Ryoko's great.
No.
But goddamn, dude,
no.
Satsuki's so hot. Goddamn. She is.
By the way, Zach, I mentally make notes of which podcast clips to use for the Instagram. That's it. That's it right there.
She's top tier waifu, dude. God damn it.
Yeah,
she's great. I love her, and her shit is.
What's dope. That character called? That character type called again?
Her character?
Like the actual anime character type that she is.
Like
the bitchy girl.
I think it's something dere. She's not technically a tsundere.
Okay.
Because a tsundere is somebody who's like a bitch, but then they're like
they're soft inside.
Yeah, they're a bitch to cover up the fact that they're embarrassed and insecure.
Right.
Which is not really what she is. She's just like a hard motherfucker.
I remember I was talking to some of our friends years ago.
Yeah.
And they're talking about their waifus or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, I like bitchy characters. That's that's what I like. And they're like, oh, you like the Sundares. I go, no. Those characters are
no, like straight up bitches.
I like characters that no apologies, is straight up. There's no character redemption. They just suck. They're just mean.
Well, she gets character redemption, but
yeah, but she's still
it
mean.
Is earned. But
I think just character design wise, that studio makes such appealing characters, and when Kill la Kill came out, let's just say, cons were very fun.
Cons were very fun.
Cons were very fun.
Cons were very fun with
Oh
Kill la Kill.
no, it's
Cosplay
so
was
sexist.
great.
Oh, it's sexist, guys. We're fuck you. Who cares?
Cosplay was very fun when Kill la Kill.
And then when they give them the power up, oh my god, what are you doing?
Oh my god, her fucking armor is those shoulder blades. Oh, killer. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Again, story wise, fucking pointless.
I mean, the story's fucking bonkers, but everything else around it is so fucking cool.
Well, just like
but they have Kill la Kill under their belt. They did. I haven't watched it, but I've been meaning to watch it. Which they did Little Witch Academia, which is on Netflix.
I watched the OVA, the first their little OVA, and then they did a series. I watched the first thing that they did. I didn't watch the series.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good for what it was.
Yeah. So they did that. They did Darling in the Franxx. They did Gridman, which I fucking loved. They're doing the sequel to Gridman coming up soon. I don't know when that's actually coming out. And they did another Netflix one. Which I haven't watched because it's only in Japan right now. But it's the brand new Animal. It's like their furry one, but it seemed interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's a little late for me to come out. I mean, I'll watch it as long as it's not like.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing to me was so surprising that it's not coming out till 2022, which is like. Yeah. The way they were talking about it, they're like, oh yeah, this will be like a gateway because it's like new characters, be a cool way for people to get into Cyberpunk. And I was like, oh, so it'll be coming out like next year. And they're like, no, it's in 2022. I mean, everybody who wanted the game will have already gotten the game by 2022. Like Cyberpunk will have been on sale like 6 times by then. Like I don't know who the fuck they're trying to entice at that point. Like everybody who wanted the game would have already gotten the game.
Right. Speaking of Netflix, Cobra Kai is moving over to Netflix.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So they're going to get season 3 with 1 and 2 coming onto Netflix at some point.
I haven't watched it, but I've been wanting to watch it because it looked fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of it either.
But it looked really, really fun. I mean, the fact that they've got Ralph Macchio and the guy who was the original... I don't remember who he was, but the original guy, Cobra Kai, in it is super fun. So, yeah, I'm down for it.
Hold on. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah?
Hold on. I got okay. Hold on, sorry.
All right.
Hold on. Okay, so sorry. I just randomly saw an article saying that Bosch from Amazon was canceled, but they're going to do 2 more seasons before it gets canceled. So I'm not mad at that. Okay, that's irrelevant to the news. I apologize.
No, you're good.
I just really like Bosch, and I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck? Cobra Kai, haven't seen any of it yet. I'll watch it once on Netflix. I was not going to pay for fucking YouTube TV, whatever the fuck that was called.
Yeah.
To watch that.
No, I would never pay for... Is that even still a thing, the YouTube Red or whatever? Do they still do that?
I think so. I don't know.
I can't imagine too many people actually use it.
Let's move over to some more 80s stuff. In reference to Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ooh.
In a recent interview, this is from Screen Rant, where I'm getting this information.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd came out and was talking about the movie, and I'm going to just paraphrase his quote here, which was that the movie itself, it's fun, it's scary, it's funny, has some DNA traces from the first films in this movie, and that it's going to have the possibility of more sequels, as well as bigger group of people who are going to be Ghostbusters. With that being said, Zach, where do you stand on Afterlife right now?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, I still like the first trailer, but that's really all we've gotten from this point. I honestly forgot this movie was coming out. Even though I think it was originally supposed to be coming out in like 2 weeks or something like that.
It was very, very soon, yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in like July, I think. But I'm still excited for it when I remember that it's coming out, because I feel like they haven't done any press for it or anything. But, I mean, I'm sure it's one of those movies that was like delayed indefinitely. I don't even think they set up a new release date for it, have they?
March 5th.
March 5th? Okay. So we'll probably get a bigger push around like November or December, but I'm still excited for it. I mean, it's new Ghostbusters. The kids look cool. The world is interesting. It's more interesting than,
Zach,
other properties.
I have an announcement to make.
Are you not excited for this anymore?
After I've been mentioning Ghostbusters a lot the last couple episodes of the podcast.
It's true. You've been doing a lot of toy collecting, a lot of comic reading.
And I've come years ago. We would talk about Ghostbusters before.
Mm-hmm.
It's come up on the podcast a bunch of different times, and I've always said that I've never been a huge bust nut fan, or the ghost head. I don't know what they're called.
Boston didn't make you feel good?
Yeah, but after reading a lot of the comic books from IDW, from real Ghostbusters comic books, I have the omnibuses for that. After watching both movies, I've seen Ghostbusters 1 and 2 more in the last year than I have my entire life.
Okay.
And have been watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I can officially say that I like Ghostbusters.
Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big moment for us.
Let me go ahead and put this in here real quick.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no doubt.
Alright, so I like Ghostbusters officially, guys. I'm coming out. It's my gender reveal party.
Oh my god.
But I feel like I like the trailer. I watched the trailer again recently.
I actually haven't watched it since it came out, really.
I like the trailer. I like the vibe. This is the vibe that I wish I like this vibe. I'll say it that way. Like, yeah. To me, this reminds me of the comic books that I've been reading. It's a little more serious tone.
The stuff that I remembered, especially the stuff that they were hinting at, seemed like it was much more like, at least technology-wise, looked like it was hinting a lot from like Extreme Ghostbusters with like the stuff with like the.
By the way, did you ever watch that when you were a kid?
No, I never watched it. I've just seen like some clips and some images and toys and stuff like that. But like the gunner seat and stuff like that, that all seems like stuff that was like from Extreme Ghostbusters.
What makes me want to know from the trailer is like, okay, we never saw them use the gunner seat in the movies.
Yeah.
So the way Paul Rudd talks about it in the trailer, he's like, "Oh, they just kind of stopped. It was like 30 years ago. The Vigo happened, and then they haven't had a ghost sighting since."
Right.
So why is there a gunner seat? Like, did they have it the entire time in the movies? We just never saw it, but it was actually there. Like, they have some things that I need to see in their trailer, some more story stuff.
Yeah.
But after watching Stranger Things season 3 again, and then watching this trailer pretty soon after finishing that season. There's only a couple more years left where Finn Wolfhard can be the fucking angsty teen character before I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, he's pushing limit.
He's like 2 years away from him being too old to do that shit anymore.
Yeah, he's like, I'm at a point now where I'm like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Which means probably not a sequel for him. But
yeah. I mean,
unless they just make him older.
The girl character, as long as if he's not a main character, then I'm fine, because I kind of want the sister to be the main character, or wherever the fuck she is, if she's non-gender or whatever. I want that character to be the girl who is actually in the seat.
Yeah.
I want her to be the main character.
Well, they're both Egon's kids, right? Or grandkids?
Grandkids, yeah. Because to me, it makes more sense. Like, they don't really show you who is going to be the Busters except for her.
Right.
Like, they have the first scene in the trailer where it's like Finn Wolfhard's character is sitting there at the well thing with a bunch of other teenagers, but like, okay, well, I can't really imagine them being Ghostbusters.
Right.
So is it going to be like Finn Wolfhard and then the sister character and then like two other people who we don't know yet, or other students or something? Is Paul Rudd going to get a proton pack?
That'd be pretty dope. I'd be down for Paul Rudd to get a proton pack.
That'd be pretty sweet. But this is one of the movies now. I mean, I was excited for it before, but now it's like, I'm really mad that they delayed it that long.
Yeah. Sucks, man. God damn it. So much stuff we should have already had in our hands.
Seriously, dude.
It's annoying. I mean, one of the last things that I really saw, I mean, we kind of touched on the Cuphead thing was interesting. Kind of touched on that already at the beginning.
Yeah.
Fucking season 2 of The Boys, baby. Boom! Got him.
I'm not really hyped for it.
You not? Dude.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I like the first season, but like I'm not dying to watch more right now.
I don't know, man. I'm ready to jump back in that world.
I think it's more so not because of the show itself. I think it's more so of my not enjoyment of Garth Ennis.
That's fair.
Because this is more comic book stuff. I went and read his comic book series called Crossed,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucked. I really didn't like it. People really like Garth Ennis, and I know that I think 50-50. People don't like him. People do like him.
I've liked a couple of his things.
I'm not.
I mean, I talked about how I like Preacher. I
Right.
haven't read The Boys, but
And I'm by no means am I a prude. I am not some prudy guy. You know, I don't mind gore. I don't mind.
I mean, you just talked about Mark Millar before, so
And Mark Millar's an edgelord. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't mind
Super edgelord.
I don't mind edginess. I don't mind gore. I don't mind action. I don't mind blood. I don't mind, darkness and stuff. But to me, it seems like a lot of Garth Ennis' work just like it's just gross out factor for gross out factor. And every book that I try to read of him, I feel like tell me if I'm wrong because I don't remember about Preacher because I didn't read enough about Preacher to know. There's always a guy getting butt fucked by another guy, and like all his shit, all his books. There's always just like a bunch of gay sex.
not really that in Preacher. I mean, there's sex, but it's not really gay sex.
I feel like The Boys has gay sex.
Does it?
I feel like it does. And
Boys
Cross,
have sex.
in Cross there
and
is
and rape. Or
I was reading
not rape,
I was reading a Reddit thread where
control.
people were like breaking down Garth Ennis. They're like, yeah, Garth Ennis's books all have the same things: a bunch of homosexual sex, a bunch of boobs, a bunch of rape, a lot of anti-God stuff, obviously, and then like
big anti-God stuff.
random ass like murder for no reason. And I was like, yeah, I mean that's
I
close.
would agree that there's a lot of anti-God stuff. He definitely gets
goes
high
that's
on
his
like
goal.
the shock factor of like murder stuff. I mean, like the
Yeah.
fucking boy shit, and then the Preacher is like all of his series, at least the ones I've read, they always start with like a huge inciting incident, which is usually like some. In the Boys, it's like some horrific murder, or like in
Yeah.
Preacher, it's like a mass bombing of a church. It's like how that series fucking starts off. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't really remember a lot of gay sex in The Boys. Well, I haven't read the comic, but in Preacher there definitely wasn't gay sex. So I don't know.
I feel like
At least I don't remember it. Maybe there was, and I just don't remember. I don't know.
there has to be. It's Garth Ennis.
I don't remember. I mean, there definitely wasn't any with like Jesse and with the main three. Maybe there was some.
No.
Maybe there's some stuff with like some side characters. I don't know. I can't remember.
It just
It's been
seems
so
like,
long. It's been like. I feel like it's been like 5 years since I read Preacher.
dude.
It's been a while.
This is irrelevant to the conversation, or not really irrelevant, but it's about Preacher, and so I was doing a lot of Reddit searches one time to see about when I was talking about how I don't like Preacher art,
Right.
and if I should keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not going to. I said I wasn't going to, but
Sure, you did say that.
when I was doing my searches, I came across a thread of Christians talking about Preacher, and like, hey, do you guys like Preacher? Do you guys read Preacher? Have you read it? How do you feel about it? And the general consensus was, yeah, it's art. I don't care. We're Christians, sure. It's offensive and blasphemous, but we can enjoy art and separate it, right?
Right.
But one guy in this thread kept talked about the Jesus character and how that being the most offensive thing, and how he like that really rubbed him the wrong way. The Preacher of Jesus character. But the problem was, and I went and did my own Google of what the character was, and it's something about how like he was like inbred or something.
I think so, something like that. There's definitely something that happens. I think with I think it ends up coming back with like fuck, what was it? It comes back when he goes back to his parents' place, and or with the people who raised him, not his parents. It's like his grandma or some shit. The fucking like weird like zombie looking hag. But I think it's like one of the kids was like inbred because they live in like fucking backwoods Louisiana, and so like.
Well, it was something like where I guess again you
like
read it. I haven't read it yet. I'm just talking about from what I read. It was like, okay, well, Jesus was a person, and then they just kept inbreeding, and they kept them separate from the world, and they kept inbreeding this Jesus guy, and it was like this like goofy looking character named like Humperdew or something.
Oh, that's right. That's like when the secret society gets at it. That's right.
Supposed to
They're
be
like
that's Jesus.
I forgot because there's like a super Christian cult, and they have their own Jesus.
Like that's supposed to be like, okay, well, Jesus was real, and obviously And then like in the Preacher universe, they just kept breeding the Jesus person from a long time ago, and kept doing it, and that became this like goofy looking,
Yeah, he's like
mentally handicapped
he's got like
character.
a unibrow, and he's like mentally retarded.
Right.
And,
So I was reading this Reddit post about how this Christian guy on Reddit thought that was the most offensive part, and obviously he kept reading and was fine with it and got over it. But what bugged me was I googled the story, read the character's name, which is a stupid fucking name. Which I get it. He's just digging more at Christianity, which is fucking fine. Do your thing. But the guy in the Reddit post kept calling him Humperdido, not Humperdoo.
Huh.
And I was like, hold on. So I went back to like Preacher Wikia. I was like, okay, it says here his name is Humperdoo.
I forgot. There is, well, it's not gay sex, but it's necrophilia for sure.
Okay, well,
I forgot. There's the guy who owns the meat plant that like has sex with the carcasses of dead cows, which is very.
The guy fucks the chicken too, right?
Well, that's the same dude, I think.
So it's like
he like owns the meat pack. He has sex with a bunch of animals.
There's just a level of like of shock factor that I don't care for. But hold on, my point about this was that I got so mad at this guy on Reddit. I didn't respond to him because this was from like 6 years ago, this Reddit thread. But I got so mad at this man I've never even seen before or talked to for talking so matter-of-factly, but calling the character the wrong name. It's something about that really bugged me. And there's no point to this story. It's just about Preacher. I just want to tell it.
Okay.
That's it.
Fair enough.
That's all. But by wrapping my Garth Ennis thing up is that like, it's like he's just a shock value guy, and I'm sure the stories are really good from what I've read. I've read The Boys, and I liked it for what I liked the commentary and satirical stuff. I thought it was good. I thought that it could have been way less bloody, and way less rapey or bloody or sexy for no reason, except for the fact that he can and he does. And then I read Crossed, and I was like, this. I'm done reading anything he does, except for his war. His war books are like amazing, because like they're very traditional war stories, and those are really awesome. Okay. But like I read Cross, was essentially like 28 Days Later on steroids.
Okay.
The premise is that like these zombies or this infection hits human beings, and the human beings then will go and act out their like most crazy desires. So they murder people, they cut heads off, they rape bodies, they rape girls, they kill people, they rape guys, all this stuff. It's like, okay.
So not really zombies. That's very strange. It's like
it's like an infection. Yeah, they go crazy, but they're like ravaged and stuff like that. And if you get blood on you, if they get blood on you, spit, semen, you become like that.
So they rape you and you become like that.
Exactly, right? And I'm like, how many times can one dude write about stuff that involves butt fucking?
Yeah.
Before or a vagina that smashes a guy's head open. Like, how many times do we read this stuff and go, you know what? Let me just. Okay, I'll move on to something else.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's kind of where I'm at with Garfield.
I mean, honestly, hearing that series, that doesn't sound like a very enjoyable series to read.
I thought it sucked. I thought I hated it. I thought it sucked. Which is crazy, though. I was looking at the series, and then there's a sequel series written by Alan Moore.
The fuck? Alan Moore still writes shit?
And I was like, I feel like that doesn't make sense to me because the series I just read definitely does not deserve Alan Moore to write it.
No. Goddamn. All right.
I don't know. Not that I'm better than Garth Ennis. Not trying to say that. I'm just saying that like, I personally don't enjoy reading about fucking a bunch of rape all the time.
I feel you.
Tenet got pushed back, and now so is Bill and Ted.
Damn. God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Because Bill and Ted didn't want to compete.
They want to compete, yeah. They don't want to compete.
I wouldn't want to compete either.
Undertaker retired. Apparently.
This was very confusing to me, because I saw a bunch of people on Instagram saying thank you, Taker. And I was like, what the fuck happened? Do you have a WrestleMania moment? It's not even WrestleMania. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then I saw that there was I guess there was a documentary that came out on the WWE Network that I guess everybody was talking about. And then I saw your shit, and I was like, okay, so he retired after the documentary finished? I don't know. I was very confused.
Yeah, he had a match at WrestleMania or whatever with AJ Styles. And then Doc came out, and then I guess in the documentary, he talks about how he's ready to no call it quits or whatever.
Okay.
But he's been like this multiple times before. But I think at this point,
Yeah.
it's definitely the smartest time.
I mean, he had that
quit.
after fucking Brock Lesnar, where he basically put his shit down and acted like he was going to retire, and then he still came back. So.
Well, he really should have retired after Shawn Michaels.
God damn it, dude! That was like his greatest match ever. God
He really
damn.
should have retired then.
Well, Triple H wouldn't let him because Triple H needed his shot, man.
Well, okay, after Triple H then.
He should have been after Triple H.
After Triple H, that storyline's wrapped up now. You can retire because he's too old.
Yeah.
And watching him wrestle is very unfun.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore. He's just like, I mean, the character's fun, but yeah, I mean, he's just 55. Too old. He can't move the same way that he used to, and it's very obvious.
He's 55 years old, and at 6'10", 55, and now he's a weird amalgamation of all the characters that he's played.
Is he?
Like he wears the trench coat of the Undertaker, like spiritual Undertaker. He wears the hat. Then he wears like the shirt and the pants of the American Badass. And I think at this last one, he's like this weird amalgamation of all three versions of Taker. And it's kind of like, just
stop.
Call it. Just call it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't watch the graveyard match, or whatever the fuck it's called, boneyard match of AJ Styles. I didn't watch it. Mm-hmm. But AJ Styles is like 5'11".
Yeah.
Undertaker's like 6'10".
Mm-hmm.
So let's just be real. Like,
yeah,
I don't need to see that match. AJ Styles is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
I just don't need to see that match.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's retiring.
Yeah, I agree.
Because now Vince McMahon can't keep fucking. Okay, what are we gonna do for ratings? Bring back Taker.
Oh, God damn it, dude.
Because all he does is bring back Taker, bring back DX, bring back Stone Cold, bring back Shawn.
Well, all of his new ideas keep fucking failing. Now his new ideas that were failing, he brings back and they get a bigger pop off. Like when he brought the fucking Shield back.
Well, he can't do that now.
Yeah, no, not anymore. You got fucking what the fuck is his name now? Whatever for AEW. I don't remember.
John Moxley.
Whoever he was, I don't remember who.
Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose, that's what it's. Yeah. That's right, Ambrose. Yeah, so Ambrose is gone, so no Shield anymore.
And I can get into wrestling theory and logic and like thinking and criticalness all forever, but like,
yeah,
the product is just bad right now for WWE. I think the product.
I saw that. I was watching one YouTube video, Super Eye Patch Wolf. He was talking about a lot of stuff that he loved, and he talked about the WrestleMania match between, because now their pay-per-views are all fucking weird because they don't have audiences, and so they can do like actual like scripted stuff. Yeah. And so he was talking about John Cena and Bray Wyatt's match.
That was awesome.
And I saw some clips of that, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I'd watch that." Like that looks fucking interesting.
That was the best thing they've done in years.
Yeah.
That match was so good. And then AEW did. I mentioned on the podcast. AEW did something similar with Matt Hardy. It was really, really good. That John Cena Bray Wyatt match. For it wasn't even a match really. Again, it was a story. It was a segment. It was a segment, and it was really good. And John Cena seemed to really like dig it. I dug it a lot.
Yeah. You got the fucking classic hair back, baby.
But talent-wise, it's still NXT is still the best roster.
Well, I saw that. I've seen on Instagram that like all the fucking talent is like going back to NXT. Like you got fucking Charlotte, who's like the NXT Women's Champion. Finn Balor's like the NXT champion. I thought I saw like Sasha Banks was like at NXT or some shit. Like that's where all the killers keep going. It's so strange.
Adam Cole is still the champion at NXT, and then he's about to go wrestle Keith Lee, who's a really big, athletic black dude who's the North American champion. But Finn Balor's there, and that's the best roster for sure still. And to me, AEW, I've been watching intermittently the last like 6 months.
I haven't watched their TV stuff yet.
To me, the product is very like
hit or miss.
And they got some good talent. I mentioned before in the podcast, obviously Jericho, for being 50, is still fantastic. Still the best promo in the business.
They got Jericho. They got all of the Elite, which is
you got the Elite. Obviously, Kenny Omega is arguably the best wrestler alive right now.
Yeah.
But then they have Lance Archer, who's they've got a guy recently who's.
I saw that. I saw they had Lance
like 6'11" or some shit, and like.
I remember I watched
Insanely
the
athletic.
what was it the GX tournament or whatever from Japan.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
a year or two ago, and I saw his
Mhm.
match that he had against that one high flyer you were telling me about. I can't remember his
Will
name.
Ospreay, yeah.
Will Ospreay, yeah, I saw
Yeah.
his match, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, this guy's fucking brutal."
He's
I love
insane.
I
He's
love
so
his look
good.
too. His look is fucking killer. I dig he's got the fucking Mad Max shit like down
Oh,
pat.
he's great.
Yeah.
But then past that, past the Elite, Chris Jericho,
Look at Matt, obviously.
Moxley, Matt, but again, guy who's been kind of broken down, beat up. No pun intended for broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
They don't really have anybody else on their roster, that, in my opinion, who's like
Sean Spears
superstar.
still doing stuff?
He's still there, but he's not really.
Mm.
No, he's
That's
not.
a shame.
But he's also not a superstar character, in my opinion. Like their superstars are Cody, Kenny,
Yeah.
the Young Bucks, Chris. You know,
Which is I mean, I appreciate Cody for doing that because I mean, he does his best to fucking lift these young guys up, dude. He gives them match after match after match, trying to
But
lift these guys up.
the rest of the roster is just like. I mean, there's a guy named Luchasaurus who was great, but like until they give him mic time and chance to really take the mask off and kind of be a character,
Yeah.
no one's going to connect enough. And I look at New Japan, which is my favorite promotion of all time,
Mm-hmm.
and I look at all these wrestlers, and I'm like, fuck, man, this consistent level of superstars. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know these names, but you have Osprey, obviously, like you just said. You got fucking Okada, Ibushi, you got Evil, Naito, all these guys who are like insane. They're great. And obviously, it takes time to build superstars. I understand that. And AEW just isn't, for whatever reason, I don't know. To me, not getting the people that you need to build a franchise
Yeah.
show. They're getting wrestlers who are great wrestlers. They're
getting
great talent.
they're getting good wrestlers, but I think the problem is that they don't have depth yet.
Well, their
which is a
roster
big
has
problem.
no depth, and it goes
Yeah.
back to that they're hiring so many new talent, which is great for wrestlers, obviously, and good for the business. But you got to have the tentpole guys and girls who are big already. That
Yeah.
way, by 5 years from now, the new guy, new girl, is now at that level to be
A tentpole, yeah.
the tentpole wrestler. You know, like it took years for Stone Cold to become Stone Cold, but they still had Bret Hart.
Yeah.
They still had other people that they could work with, you know, before Stone Cold came out with Stone Cold, or same thing with Brian Pillman and these other guys. So
Yeah.
AEW has that problem where I pretty much only watch the pay-per-views now
Mm-hmm.
because I end up skipping a lot of stuff until it's like a match that I want to see, but I can only watch John Moxley versus Kenny Omega or John Moxley versus Chris Jericho or Kenny versus Jericho so many times, and like
Yeah.
if I turn on the AEW, it's like, hey, we're gonna do Jack Hager versus fucking the Young Bucks. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree with that for sure. Yeah, and I mean
So-
that's the problem where it's like, because even when I was watching him, it was like, back when I was still watching them consistently, it was like the Elite was like basically facing like the same tag team like every week. They had a couple of good. I mean, the roster's not to say AEW's roster is terrible, but yeah, I mean it just doesn't have the depth of the amount of tentpole wrestlers that you need to be able to fill
And I
a
think
weekly show.
Also, too, I think and that's definitely part of it. I think the biggest factor is that no one is superstar ready except for Jericho, and like gimmick wise, like
Yeah.
Kenny's gimmick is dialed in. Everyone knows it, and obviously his output of wrestling is so fucking good. Young Bucks, they're dialed in. Hangman Page, which is I think the only guy, is Adam Hangman Page, who's like had his gimmick before, it was good, and came in here now, and people are like, yeah, the cowboy thing, I got it. No one else on the roster really. Like Sean Spears' gimmick is like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
My neighbor is like doing something outside, and my dog is like flipping the fuck out.
I hear you. Yeah.
Well, that's some wrestling talk for you.
Wrestling talk to end it up.
There's nothing else really that I want to mention.
No,
But
yeah.
To mention Cuphead real quick again. We mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, but mention again here in the news segment.
Okay.
I like the teaser. I never
Yeah.
played Cuphead as a game. I love the
I
way
haven't
it
either.
looks. I love the way it looks.
I love the art style of it for sure, but yeah, I mean, I don't have an Xbox, so I've never played it.
It's only Xbox, right?
I'm pretty sure it's only Xbox. I mean, it's definitely not on the PlayStation. Um, but yeah, I've never played it. But yeah, I love the art style. I love the hand drawn. I mean, the fact that it is like hand drawn. I love that aspect to it. That's super neat. I mean, I've watched a couple of speed runs, and I've watched some other people do playthroughs, and I mean, it's a fun game to, even if you're not playing, it's a fun game to watch just to see how other people tackle it. But
there's a let's play I watched, not let's play, excuse me, speed run from this the last game's done quick. I watched from a guy named the Mexican Runner, and he ran it, and I was like enthralled.
Yeah, it
was so cool, and knowing how difficult the game is. And I mentioned this on the podcast before, so I apologize. This is 6 months ago though, where I guess they were demoing the game on like IGN or something, and one of the people who were playing the game was stuck on the.
Oh, I think that was Polygon, but yeah,
or Polygon.
Like, they were trying to like do the tutorial, and they couldn't even get past the tutorial
for like half an hour. So he's like playing the run, and then he gets through the tutorial in like 0.2 seconds and goes, "Yeah, I don't need half hour for this." And then everyone in the crowd is like fucking like dying laughing. But the art style is so good, and here's what the art style makes me want to do besides play the game, which I would be terrible at it, but the cartoon looks so good, and it makes me want to go back and like read Calvin and Hobbes, which is obviously very different from fucking Cuphead, but like it makes me want to go read Peanuts. It makes me want to go read Garfield. It makes me want to.
It's got that classic Sundays comics strip look to it for sure.
It's that great Max Fleischer art style that I think is amazing, and it's the reason why I went to animation school, and the reason why I don't animate anymore because I suck at it. Because I spent a lot of money going to animation school.
That's true.
To learn how to do that, and then
Them's the bricks sometimes, though, man. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, man.
Yeah, could you imagine though people who went to school to become a teacher, and then they sucked at teaching.
Yeah, they didn't
become a teacher. But I went to art school to learn how to be an animator, and then I was like, you know what? I suck at this.
I don't want to do this.
But I still got a degree.
Hey, you got the piece of paper. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I'm an animator.
I mean, you've got a piece of paper on your wall that says you're an animator. So, that's basically as good as you making it a game. So
exactly. So now that piece of paper gives me all the ability to just fucking critique the fuck out of cartoons.
You know what that piece of paper should give you the ability to do is play Cyberpunk early. Because you could really comment on the animation quality of it, and talk about how they make it, and then you could critique them, give them some feedback pointers, and then you can play the game for 5 hours. And
if not play the game, I should at least get a free copy or a free review copy of the anime.
Now you're doing some big brain stuff.
Yeah. But then they'll be like, well, you didn't study animation. You studied American animation. And I'll be like, you're right.
That's
well, guys, that's the podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you back next week with more License to View here on the podcast channel. So,
see you guys.
One more soundbite. There we go. Oh, I cut it off too early. Oops.
Oh, no.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching.
See ya.